This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone needs for you and never take a moment to think about what you need for yourself. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind.
Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/IDK today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/IDK.
Cutting wood. Assembling wood. Would you be able to do it? I don't know about that. You might find out on the I Don't Know About That podcast with Jim Jefferies and the woodcutter, Forrest Shaw. Forrest off air was just telling us that when me and Jack put together, I did not much of the work, when we put together the jungle gym for my child in the backyard, which I think is the place to do it.
Excuse me, you said you built one.
We did build it.
Not put it together and built. Are two different things. That's
You
what
had to
that's what this whole
assemble and
conversation.
build,
You had to screw holes. This was an IKEA.
We had to buy every new step of the instructions.
You had to have
we had to go buy a new tool.
You had to have an electric drill. We ran out of tools. We had to go to the hardware store, and then there was a guy's like, "You putting together that one? That's a tough job." He said that.
I own
It's
3
true, it
drills. You
happened.
could have just borrowed one from me. I own 3 of them.
I know you. I'd owe you. You'd bring it up all the time. You'd bring it up all the time. Remember that time you gave me that drill? Now you got to bury this body with me, Jim. Fair's fair.
Free. So, give it to you. Free rental.
So Forrest said, I did it for a living. He said that we didn't cut the wood. Who cuts the
So we didn't
fucking...
build it. We assembled
Because you
it.
assembled. You assembled it. Even if you drilled a hole, you still assembled it.
Yeah,
not
I know,
building.
but it's still...
Did I build a Lego set or did I assemble a Lego set?
Ooh.
You built it.
Yeah, you built it, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he cut the Lego pieces?
I don't think so.
Oh, no, you assembled it. I just said the wrong answer.
No,
Wabbit season, duck season.
no, I think you'll find in the Lego community, it is called a Lego build.
Well, a bunch of losers in that community.
Oh.
Damn.
Shots
You're
fired.
talking about
Join the
1/4
conversation.
of all toys purchased. You're saying 1/4 of the world's children. In fact, more of them would buy that because they buy other toys. You're saying all the children in the world are losers?
Environmental disaster.
They are environmental disaster. Somehow Lego gets away with being an environmental disaster and no one says shit.
Are people throwing away their Legos?
We were talking about this when we were in
No
Denmark.
one uses it again. You just, all the empty pieces you put in a bucket and then you give to someone else who's allegedly going to use them. But now because the Lego sets are basically models, there's pieces that unless you're using it in that model, you're not really using it again. You're not like, oh, I'll keep this windscreen that's slightly slanted like that for a thing, or I'll keep this Jedi lightsaber.
What you do is you throw it in the ocean, and then an octopus will grab it and make a little house out of them and stack them together. Yeah, they're very smart.
But he'll
we know anything.
assemble
Yeah, I think
the
you're just
house.
supposed to throw all your trash in the ocean, right?
Yeah, no
Where else
problem.
is it supposed to go?
Huge.
Yeah, it's so big.
I think when we were in, is it what they're from Denmark, right? Or are they from?
We should introduce Dawn, who's on there.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Everybody knows her already. We've gotten so many emails and comments and messages about how much everybody loved Dawn. So
Don
we brought her
Brody.
back.
Don Brody's
And
back.
Frankenstein. People, so many people bought the book.
Yes.
I didn't. I've got a copy of that.
Yeah, you
Dawn
got 2
gave
free
me.
books.
I love that.
haven't read it, but I've still got it. I didn't throw it away.
That's good.
And that's pretty good for
I
me.
like that. I like that. That curls my toes.
And then I endeavour to read it in the future.
Yeah, you're going on vacation. You should bring the
Read it
book
on the beach.
next to the pool.
Yeah, I'm going on vacation with a baby. That's a lot of good book reading time.
Oh,
I've got a lot of book reading pages. Can you imagine the outrage my wife would have? She was taking care of the baby and I was sitting down with a good book.
She might be proud.
romantic literature.
If you came back from your
She's never
vacation,
fucking read a book either.
if you came back from your vacation, you're like, Forrest, I read Frankenstein, I would fall over. I was like, what? You read a book on your it would shock me.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me that you fell over.
Oh, jeez. Guess you're not getting a drill now.
You're getting into my literacy and I say you fell over and you're like, oh, a bit much.
I wasn't saying like you couldn't read it. It just you wouldn't want to read it.
I'm not saying you probably will fall over. I'm just saying I won't be surprised if you do.
It'll happen. I believe you. I believe you will read it. It's not that long. You'll find, and you'll be a better.
I have read it. He's got up to the bit where he's in Antarctica hanging out with Santa.
Hey.
And
Oh,
he's,
okay. Great.
Hey, you remember something from the podcast?
I remember that. What's he doing up in the North Pole?
You're going to be in Reno this week.
Reno. Hey, nice to see you people in Reno. Thanks for coming out. I think the ticket sales there are quite good. I think I'll
It's this week coming up, so yeah, if you haven't bought
I
tickets.
think you're there. And then I'm in Hartford, Connecticut.
Well, first from Reno, you're going to go over the mountains to California near Santa Rosa, a place called Rohnert Park. There's a casino there, Grattan Resort and Casino. On the 24th of June. Then you go to Hartford on August 25th. And Providence, Rhode Island, August 26th. And you got a bunch of candidates after that, and a whole bunch of stuff.
If you're listening, I don't know where to go, but if you want to be on the 1% Club, we're filming the next season in Sydney, and we are looking for contestants as we speak. All good. I'm filming it in August.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, me too. I'm not going to be there. My dates.
Forrest is going to host it as well.
No. I'm going to do it in my. I'm building a set. Or assembling it, something like that. I'm going to be July 6th through the 8th at the Comedy Nest in Montreal, Canada. So if you're in Montreal, 6th through the 8th, come out to that. And then on that same Sunday, on the 9th, I'll be at the Punchline in Philly. That's one night only. Please come to that. Because if nobody comes to that, I don't make any money.
Jim, do you want to make any moves on Pat Sajak's job while you have an open mic?
Pat Sajak, yeah. Okay, so Pat and me got along. We got along good.
Yeah.
Is he retiring?
Yeah, he is.
This is last season.
When I was on Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, Pat came up and he gave me a hug and he goes, "I have to watch more of your stuff." And I think when he said more, I think he means some. Because he didn't know who I was.
Single second.
Oh, really?
Oh, you killed it on there, though.
I killed it on there. People think I was doing a bit. I'm just dumb. I couldn't. If you saw the phrase I had to do, it would be online somewhere. But it was, I think it was. That's the best pineapple I've ever had in my mouth.
Yeah, it's a
I've
common
never
phrase.
heard that fucking
That
saying.
was the phrase you had to solve?
Yeah, common phrase.
And I got all the letters. I was spinning, and everyone else seemed to know what it was. I got all but all the letters. And at one stage, I think
That was the biggest piece of pineapple?
that's the best piece of pineapple I've had in my mouth.
I think ever had him.
Ever had
By the way,
one.
it's still terrible.
Ridiculous.
And anyway, so at one stage, I thought I had it, but I knew it wasn't the right answer. I thought, do the joke answer, but I was doing it for charity. And I thought, you can't do it for charity, because I wanted to say that's the best prostitute I've had all month. But
That would have made more sense.
yeah, that would have made more sense. That's a saying I've said. I've never said the pineapple saying.
Is Vanna White retiring?
If I have my way, I've got my own people. I've got to bring in. I'm cleaning house.
Forrest, you want to be Vanna White?
Sure. Yeah, everyone wants to see me turn letters.
I'm getting rid of Vanna White, and it turns out the letters could appear by themselves.
I understand
It turns
how
out
automation hasn't taken her
the days of her spinning the letter, now she just sort of touches them. Even before the touch system, I reckon you could have figured out a spinning device.
Yeah.
But she used to spin them.
She was there to be hot and fashionable.
Sell a dress.
Yeah.
She'd spin them.
She sold a lot of dresses.
She was very nice, Vanna White. They were all very nice. And I would do it, but I don't know. Yeah, I think I could do it because there's no questions, really. The questions, on the 1% Club, the question's the hardest bit. I do a game show in Australia.
Yeah.
The questions are the hardest bit. I got to read the bloody questions. And I got to get there and I'm like, oh, fuck. And some of the questions are as long as all balls.
Yeah.
And they're always like, what answer is the number one second number to be the fourth letter of the alphabet in the month of June if Sam was riding a bike, right? And then they go, the answer's 7423 because the 7 correlates with the month with the thing with it. And even as I'm reading the answers, I don't know what's going on. I'm on the game show. I have no idea what's going on. But the game show, it's rating really well. It's coming first in its time slot. And what happens is a lot of people write about the game show, and it turns out because there's 100 contestants, it turns out I yell too much. So for all the people who are watching, I've taken note that I am yelling too much, but I'm a natural yeller.
Sure.
If there's 100 people,
It's enthusiasm.
I know I'm mic'd.
Yeah.
But I start to go, all right, what have we got next? Who's coming up? Oh, like that. It's the same as I can't be on a hands-free kit in a car and not yell.
I yell too.
I have no.
You have to. I've tried not yelling and it doesn't pick it up.
Yeah, I go, all right, I'm driving to see you, Jack. Don't tell the other Jack I'm warming up a new assistant.
What?
Yeah, that's the other Jack I have the affair with.
See, I'm a street improviser at Universal Studios in the New York
You
windows.
have to yell. You have to yell.
Yeah, but we have the little Britney Spears mics.
Yeah.
And so you're 2 floors up and you want to look like you're yelling too because it's part of the performance. You know, it's like, "Oh, sweetheart, I haven't seen you, blah blah." And I'm always, my technician's like, "You're yelling too much." I'm like, "I'm on a second." Even if it's mic'd, I can't sound like I'm going, "Hello, how are you?" When I'm
Yeah,
two floors up.
exactly.
You have to yell.
Exactly, yeah. So
Fill the room.
that's my big thing. I'm going to yell less. Although with the 1% Club, what I have found out is there's a lot of people, we do very well in rural Australia. We do all right in the cities and that type of stuff. But so there's a lot of people who are watching me do a game show who have never seen my stand-up in any capacity whatsoever. And they're enjoying this show enough, but they feel like they have to write to me about some jokes that I need to apologise for. and I laugh my fucking ass off because it's like the other day there was a bloke that's like, you think epilepsy's funny? Try having an epileptic fit then. Like this, right? And I'm like, oh, dude,
haven't
if
Googled
you
me.
watch me stand up, epilepsy jokes are so low down on the stuff you could try to cancel me with.
You think you're going to probably sell more tickets now, right? I would think.
Well, not if I keep these epileptic jokes up.
Well, not to
You're gonna
that
lose
guy.
all your
but-
audience.
I don't know. I think next time I go to Australia, I might try to do like a more country town tour.
Yeah.
But we'll talk, go not like country. I'm not going country. I'm not going to go out to like some place.
Hello.
I'm not going to go out to Cooper Pedy and perform to the people who. There's a town in Australia called Cooper Pedy. We should do an episode of this where it's so fucking hot, they live underground.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, people fall through people's holes walking back from the pub.
They come out
I've
at
heard
night.
they think that's the
yeah.
future. They think everybody
The-
is going to be doing this.
The
in
top
future.
is that, and then you get a hole, and you go down underground into what they call a dig out, and you live, and your walls are just like chipped out dirt, and it's opal mining is why they all live there. It's I think there was a scene in Priscilla Queen of the Desert in this thing, but Cooper, and they have
Night golf.
No, they have golf, but do you want to know how they do the golf because it's so barren? You bring your own bit of grass. So you bring bit of grass.
Oh, it's a tee off from. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just each shot.
Oh, each shot.
Right, so you have your bit of grass
okay,
that's
yeah.
like a foot by a foot. You hit it into the desert. You walk up. You find your ball. You put
And it's
your
like
bit
a glow in the dark ball,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Wow.
You put your bit of grass on it. Off you go again. Another bit of grass.
Wow.
We should just do that on public courses here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the future.
What's it called again?
Golf.
Sounds
Should
fascinating.
do an episode on that. What Cooper Pedy?
Cooper Pedy.
Yeah. What? How much do you think Vanna White earns a year? By the way, she's not leaving. I don't think.
Ooh.
I would say she'd be on 15 million a year.
10 million.
Well, she's not getting paid enough.
Pat Sajak
Yeah,
makes
Bet you
Never
paid
replaced.
such a Hajak's being paid more.
15.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but he does more.
The
He's
patriarchy.
talking,
He
only
he's
gets
got-
The
5
fucking
million more?
patriarchy, mate.
he
fucking
should get more. He does more.
She
than
should do
that.
the math.
I'll tell you.
Should
I'll
add
tell
up
you
the
what
math.
I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do. If I host the Wheel of Fortune, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here first. I just want to be paid the same as Vanna White.
Yeah.
Not a cent more, not a cent less.
10 million a year.
Equality. Equality.
That's
I'll
right.
come on and she can read the questions and I'll turn the fucking letters.
Wow.
That's how equal I want to
What
be.
a guy. What a guy.
They record 288 episodes in 48 days.
Oh my god.
What?
You would hate that.
Wait, how?
They record
Oh, you were
4
there.
a day.
The
4 or 5 a day.
the episodes are as fast as you see them. Like the 1%.
6 per day.
The
6 per
1% Club takes like 3.5 hours to record an
Yeah.
episode because there's so many people and people want to piss all the time. That's what happens on the show. Can I go to the bathroom, please? And I'm like, we have a scheduled bathroom break. I'm like a dad. We have a scheduled bathroom break in 20 minutes. If you can hold on. I can't hold on.
Nervous peas.
And you can't say that to a fucking adult. All right.
Do the audiences stay for 4? Or they get a new
Yeah.
audience
No,
every
they
time?
have to sit there. That's each
all of them?
episode. Each episode.
All right.
Anyway,
well,
come along to that.
well, let's IDCat podcast on Instagram. Go follow that. Follow all of us on Instagram. And follow our guest, Don Brody. Let's get into our subject for today.
All right, now it's time to play. Jack's not paying attention. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Judging the book by its cover.
Okay, so Don Brody was here last time to talk about Frankenstein. It is not Frankenstein.
Is it Dracula?
No.
No, you're off course. You don't even think about
The
anything.
Wolf Man.
Don't think about anything literature.
Oh, everything's literature.
So,
Wow.
Everything's literature.
well,
Big.
let me just. I can. You already know her. So Don Brody has a degree in history and theater from the University of Minnesota.
Dracula's wife.
He had 3.
I'm going to give you a hit. Appeared on the History Channel series Crazy Rich Agents. I didn't even update your bio,
Good,
by the
that's
way.
fine, that's fine.
She
Not
has
much
she has a podcast called HILF, History I'd Like to Fuck. That is a clue right there.
History.
I'd like to fuck. HILF.
History, you'd like the facts. So, sex history.
You're getting close, yeah.
History of sex.
Well, I think we've done that. We did some.
There's
version
no
of that.
history of sex.
Very
Sex is
specific thing we're talking about today.
Oh, anal.
What is this voice you're doing?
No, it takes the zing out of the offensive thing I'm saying.
I know. I think it goes up.
Anal.
Anal goes up.
It can be used.
Fisting of the elderly.
It can be. This can be used for anal, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure,
Anal's
You
invited.
Penis.
No,
Invited.
this is it's technically it can be shaped like a penis.
It's a tool.
Strap on.
It's vibrators.
Vibrators.
We're talking about vibrators, the history of vibrators.
Vibrator. I'll tell you something about the old vibrator.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It bloody ruined. It spoilt women. It did. Before that, you were all happy with a cock, and you'd find a way to come. You'd find a
would
way.
we?
Yeah. No, not all of you. The ones that could use your imagination could. Right?
Oh, Vanna would be so disappointed to hear you say this.
Yeah. But then the vibrator came in. If I had a thing that could go on my dick and be more effective than a vagina, just go come. Of course, we'd be using that all the time, and then we'd touch vaginas and be like, women are useless, right?
And we'd prefer that, honestly.
Yes, that's right. We'd be like, enjoy yourself.
Like women can't make me come because I've got the new suck machine.
No,
right?
men couldn't make women come well before vibrators were invented.
That's fair.
Okay, this. You all have this imaginary world like we want to make you come. He's
remarkably
to be
accurate.
fair, I am not.
Remarkably
I am not
accurate.
fooled by that. There are plenty of times
Yeah.
where I know that the person had no interest in making me come.
I'm very excited to get into this history because y'all are assuming that a female orgasm was even believed to exist prior
There
to
was a
certain
guy
point in
who
time.
I'm still
believed that
wondering.
A lot of people still doubt.
when women had hysteria, this bloke. I'll tell you all the answers.
Okay, so Don Brody, follow her on Instagram. It's at Don_Brody.
The original one was a Coke bottle filled with bees.
I'm really.
We'll get to that question. Save that answer.
And I
yeah.
feel so sheepish. He clearly already knows everything.
Did you read the document? Okay. And then also follow at Hilf Podcast. Don knows a lot of stuff about a lot of things, so be interesting. So you've already done the show before, but just for everybody out there, I'm going to ask Jim a bunch of questions about vibrators, and at the end of it, you're going to grade him on his accuracy, 0 through 10. 10's the best. Kelly's going to grade him on confidence. I'm going to grade him on etc. We'll add them all together. If you get 0 through 10, dildo pickles, because I know you don't like pickles.
Dildo pickles.
Yeah, 11 through
He
20.
was one of the lesser known hobbits.
Well, then you're going to like my next one. 11 through 20 is crocodildo. Crocodildo? Yeah.
One of the more known.
And 21 through 30 is dildo baggins, yeah.
Dildo
Because I had dildo baggins there, but then I was going to maybe
It was
license to
good.
dildo or dildo hunting. What was it? Good dildo hunting? I don't know.
All very strong.
Let's get to the question.
Very strong.
When does the dildo first appear in the historical record?
When Jesus was on the cross,
Okay.
they didn't just nail him in the hands, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
What are you saying?
I'm saying they got a Coke bottle filled with bees and shoved it up his ass.
Coca-Cola, feel free to use this as a commercial.
You're welcome.
We'll take your money.
Is this your final answer?
Okay, that's one of my answers. If that's correct, I'll take the points. Otherwise, and that's to all the people, but what about my epilepsy? Listen to the Coke bottle up the arse joke and now watch me game show on terrestrial TV, you cunts.
Monday nights.
Not this Monday. They took us off again. They moved our show again because there was another show.
Where are you now?
They're trying to. I think they're trying to space out our episodes so that my next 10 episodes sort of link up. So they had a public holiday. They're not moving me off anyway.
All right.
So what was the question?
When does the dildo first appear in historical record? Maybe a year, maybe a
Yeah, no,
person, a time,
there was a machine. There was a psychiatrist that helped the women with hysteria, and he laid him down. He gave him a little bit of a fumble with a rod, and that would have been. I'm going to say 200 years ago. So I'm going to say 1820.
All right. Hysteria was a long-time medical diagnosis for women.
Yes.
What is it, and what are its symptoms? Like, according to people back then. Yeah.
Complaining.
Yeah.
Getting upset that the job's not done. I've heard you. I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Fucking hell. Don't keep pestering me. It's only been 6 months.
What are some?
No, I'll stop being misogynistic. Hysteria, hot flushes. Maybe it had something to do with menopause. It was tied in with that. I want to say hot flushes and doing this noise a lot. That was hysteria all day.
What are some cures, like, according, this is back then, I guess, what are some cures for a woman suffering from hysteria?
Well, for the man, you can use a muzzle on her.
Yeah. He's like, I'll stop being misogynistic. Next question.
Here's a muzzle. A pillowcase with a drawstring. Okay. So, well, I reckon it would be having an orgasm was one of the cures.
What other ones though? Anything else?
And Zoloft.
Zoloft.
Oh, and that drug that helps people with diabetes and helps you lose weight.
Ozempic.
Oh, Ozempic. Who you know? She is too hysterical now. Ozempic. They don't even have to run the ads anymore. There's just fat cunts losing their fucking legs with diabetes, and you're upset about fucking the other one. What was the disease?
Epilepsy.
Epilepsy. I just call diabetic people fat cunts who have their legs cut off because fat people are trying to lose weight. You don't have diabetes.
Tuesday nights. All right. Who?
Mondays.
I thought I got switched. All right. I was just guessing Tuesday. All right. Who was Timaeus, and what was his theory about a woman's uterus?
Timaeus would have been a psychiatrist, and his theory on a woman's uterus is that's where they held all the bad vibes in.
Okay. Who is credited with the first electrified dildo or vibrator? Yeah.
Oh, I think the original Tesla.
Elon Musk.
No. He owns
Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla.
Okay.
He's the original Tesla.
gee.
Elon Musk isn't the original.
No.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla, I reckon the first one, it looked scarier because the bits that came off the top of it.
Little coils.
Yeah.
With the electricity. Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have been him. It would have been Edison.
The vibrator. The vibrator in the 1880s. This is the vibrator came about. Was one of the first 5 devices ever electrified. What are the other 4?
The light bulb.
Uh-huh.
The light bulb. Electrified.
There's 5.
I know, yeah,
Vibrator,
5.
light bulb.
Yeah, no,
and
I'm
then
trying to
3
go
more.
through
Yeah.
the first electric inventions. You would have had the light bulb, the vibrator. So I'm going to say it's longer than 200 years. No, leave it. That's shorter.
That was the dildo was that question, not the vibrator. So you said 200 years for the dildo, but yeah.
It's, the dildo.
That was the question.
No.
I said
thought you said
dildo.
vibrator. Okay, change that answer.
Yeah.
Change that answer.
Dildo.
Go back
First
5,000 years.
5,000
years.
Okay.
5,000. As long as there was anything long.
Okay.
As long as we had anything long.
Dildo's
Some
5,000.
woman was sitting on it, I'll tell you that for nothing. And some guy called Frank, who don't ask him questions, he just hasn't found the right person.
Okay, so in the 1880s, the vibrator is one of the first 5 devices ever electrified.
I know the question. You got the vibrator, you got the light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, and I think you're going to think that I'm joking around here, but I'm going to say the toaster.
Mm-hmm.
Toaster's got to be one of the originals and the best.
I don't remember.
Electric.
We can move on. We're gonna learn.
No. It'll be a heating device, electric stove,
Okay, and then one more.
and the blender.
In what year was the vibrator first publicly marketed, and what were its alleged applications?
Oh, come here. Is your wife hysterical? Does she have problems being nice around the house? It's a common complaint. Here comes the new vibrator. Put it in the region that she never lets you touch. Oh, it will cheer her up. The kids will be happier, not for the vibrator, because the mum will be happier. Vibrators. Happy house.
Okay. So your answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just totally straight
In
faced.
the
notes.
1920s, why was the vibrator prohibited from being publicly marketed?
In the 1920s, it was it couldn't be publicly marketed.
Because it wasn't Yeah.
I reckon that's why
originally,
the Charleston was such a popular dance, because you had to keep your knees together, flick out your legs in case your vibrator fell out.
Yeah.
That's what was going on in the 20s.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where the Charleston came in.
You're exactly right.
You can teach that in your Frankenstein school.
They'll be delighted to know.
School.
Um,
What happened in the 20s that they stopped it from being marketed?
it would have been Al Capone,
Yeah.
and he would have been like, people don't want prohibition.
Okay, in 1960, there was a technological leap for the vibrator. What was it?
Cordless batteries.
Oh, I think that's right. Good
Yeah.
job. What is the quote, the obscene device law, and when was it introduced? And
1920s.
what is it?
We can't have this. This is obscene. It looks like it would be the Christians. The Christians would have come and fucked it up for everyone, even though Jesus took one in the ass.
When was the most recent arrest of a person in violation of the obscene device law?
Probably Saudi Arabia. Monday.
Okay, not in the United States.
In the United States. In the United States, you should have stipulated that.
It's the laws in the United States.
Yeah, but they'd have. You're telling me Saudi Arabia doesn't have an obscene device
It's
law?
another podcast, another day.
You should have stipulated America. You did not stipulate America.
America.
Oh, okay. In America, obscene device. That would have been. It would have been in Utah.
Yeah.
In after the war.
Okay.
Sound effects.
Sound of him thinking.
I think that's epilepsy.
1950. Jack, I don't need
not
that.
funny. Don't joke about
Do you
that.
know how bad? Have you ever had
that's really
have you
offensive,
had
Jack.
the onset of adult epilepsy?
How
Because
dare
the
you?
bloke wrote to me and said it is not a joke.
Yeah, have you? You've never even had a seizure.
This man had the first epileptic fit he'd ever had in his 40s, and he said it was not fun.
Jack, apologize, Jack.
And I will say the joke that I said that upset him so much, so that you don't repeat it.
Okay.
The joke was, on the game show, the lights all go flash, 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 and I went, oh, that was a bit much. That might set me epilepsy off again. Now, that upset someone enough to...
How dare you make that
to
joke?
say that I had to make a formal complaint, formal apology to all the so to
And
all.
this is your formal complaint.
Here it comes.
To all, I want to make this. I want to do it now. This
Cut
is
this
a
up. This is our clip.
to all the people with adult onset epilepsy who have been affected in a bad way from my joke, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Stay away from strobe lights and live well. There we go.
Back to vibrators. All right. So
You wouldn't want a vibrator that flashes. That would set off This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I use BetterHelp. I used BetterHelp on the road when I was in Europe. I was touring around Europe with Forrest, and if that doesn't give you mental problems, I don't know what will. But I went online. I couldn't see a therapist, and so I went online. This therapy, you don't need to get in your car. Sometimes I've been so depressed in my life, getting out of bed was the hard thing. Mm-hmm. Making the appointment felt like a difficult thing. Not with BetterHelp. It's all straight there in your house, and you get a new therapist. If you don't find that therapist is good for you, you can switch at any time. It's very easy to get caught up in what everyone needs of you and never take a moment to think about what you need for yourself. But when you spend all your time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burnt out. Therapy gives you the tool to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. If you've benefited from therapy, which I have, right, why don't you keep doing it? Keep going. It's good. I'll say this. This is not going to make the advert singing, but I've been suicidal in my life, and I promise you this, without therapy, I wouldn't have gotten through it. You can't get a bigger endorsement. The only reason I'm reading this ad right now is because of therapy. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional fee.
Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/IDK today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/IDK.
obscene device law.
Heartwarming.
You said Utah. What year?
Utah, 1952,
The most recent arrest was 1952.
Utah, 1952.
Okay. In what state?
you, Bill.
In what state does a person still today need a doctor's note to buy a vibrator?
Oh, the state of Hysteria.
Yeah. Okay.
And Alaska.
Why?
No, it wouldn't be Alaska. It would be one of those southern states or Utah, and I'm going to say the state of Utah.
Okay. Why are so many vibrators designed to look like cute little animals?
Women love animals, don't they?
I guess so.
They love animals.
Good point.
yeah. Women love animals. Well, it all started off with the rabbit, which was the big one.
My next question was going to be describe them, so you can describe a rabbit.
The rabbit's the big one. I bought a girlfriend the rabbit stupidly. Why would you do that? Why?
You bought your own replacement.
Yeah. Women
gender
always come up to me and go, "Here's a tighter vagina for you to fuck when I'm away." No, I bought a nice rabbit, and the rabbit became very popular because of an episode of Sex and the City, and then Ann Summers, which is a store which you could use here in America, but it's a high street store. You know Ann Summers?
No.
High street store in England. So it's just on any shop corner or anything like that. It's all pink. It's all just for ladies to go in there, and it sells vibrators and lingerie.
Lovely.
And it's and guys can go in there and buy something for their girlfriend, and all the people who work behind the counter are all women who'll be able to help you out. So it's not as intimidating and all that type of stuff. Because before that, the pawn shops in Britain and always like a bit more dark and shady and in shady areas and stuff like this. Ann Summers, so Ann Summers used to have a wall of these pink rabbit vibrators, and they were flying off the shelves like Tickle Me Elmos at Christmas.
Okay, so real quick, describe these ones. Rabbit, real quick, describe it.
Rabbit, crocodile.
No, what is it?
Describe
it. Describe the vibrator.
Okay, so the rabbit's a pink vibrator that goes like that, and then the little bit that goes off the top that goes. See, this is why a dick can't compete, right? Yeah. If you have the old vibrator, there's the silver bullet, right? You put that in there, you go on your clit a bit, and you put it back in, and then you clean it off. Or I don't know, right? You do that. That's why I never like sex toys. Every time you come in them, you're like, well, I'm never going to clean this. Anyway, but then the vibrator had the rabbit had a little vibrating bullet that came off the top of it. It had a little couple of ears on it, so you could get it on either side of the clit. So while it was penetrating you, it was also going.
Okay. Butterfly. What about the butterfly?
Yeah, the butterfly is a similar premise, but with a butterfly up the top.
What about G-spot? That one.
The G-spot one bends upwards because the G-spot is up and in, which I used to be, by the way, the king of finding the G-spot. I don't say I'm good at a lot of things, but I was elite. I was elite.
With a device or with your hands?
With my hands. My dick stuff.
You used to be. You lost the touch or something.
No, I've got a little bit of. I got rheumatoid arthritis. I got a little bit of arthritis
from all the.
He can't curl properly.
If I do that after a minute and a half, me fingers start to lock up, and I have to go out and go. Before I go back in.
Which would honestly give me the ick so fast.
No one wants
Hold on, sweetheart.
I got a cramp.
No one wants to see me go, all right, I'm good for another minute.
What about the P-spot? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know. Look, I'm not.
Sybian?
Look. The Sybian's the one you sit on.
Okay. Okay, we got a couple more questions.
I've never said that I was a great lover. I've never said that I was a good fuck. But I tell you what, I knew how to find the G-spot, baby. That was me thing.
That's good.
That was me skill.
Okay,
admirable. Very admirable.
Two more questions.
There was one girl who did it that I really worked on her for about a year, and then after that I went away with that knowledge and brought it to the world.
You worked on her for a year.
G-spot mechanic.
What is the best-selling vibrator?
She was up on bricks in the front of me house for a while.
The alternator. I can't get it to work.
I've been working on this one for a year. Only on weekends, but I should step it up over the summer. All right.
What is the best-selling vibrator of all time?
The rabbit.
Okay. During the early days of COVID lockdown, sales of vibrators went up by how much?
500%.
Okay. All right, Don. How did Jim do in his knowledge of vibrators? 0 through 10. 10's the best.
Oh, I was keeping track most of the time, and I remember this last time too. I do give you credit for the spirit of correctness, if not correctness.
Yeah, but that's Kelly's job.
That's true.
I understand that historically I got most of the questions right, But
Historical.
but no, the historical questions.
The Coke bottle with the bees was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had all the
But-
Jesus stuff.
but-
That's
Jesus
exactly
is
correct.
accurate.
But you'd trust me with one. Not you personally and your thing.
Oh,
but-
sure.
but
If you had, yes.
If I was handling one, you'd
yes.
go, this guy knows what's up.
Oh, I think I have no doubt. Your expertise with a vibrator, 10 out of 10. I'm certain. Even I can assure the world. Oh yes. What he lacks in history, he gains with double A's. I would say historically, you got
Nothing
6.
right.
No, 6.
Did I?
Six. Okay, not bad.
6.
Kelly, how you doing? Confidence.
I'm going 10 because he argued that he got everything right.
Oh, yeah. It's Saturday. You get 150. Yeah. But I don't know what's going on with it.
Knocked it out of the park.
Dildo baggins all day.
This is one of the subjects I excelled at.
You're very excited about it. Okay, when does the dildo first appear in the historical record? Jim said there was a Jesus Coke bottle. Then he said 200 years. Then he changed his answer and went back 5,000 years. Can you tell us the correct
Yeah,
answer?
so Jesus was the first vibrator.
Now, this is for Don now. This is for Don.
The dildo was when Korag's wife was like this. Korag, go hunt that saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's miles away. It'll take me 7 hours to get to him. Do it.
Yeah.
And then he's always like, hey, can I sit there? You can't sit on that rock.
It's just a little bump on there. Yeah.
It's just it was like one of those little things like the pinnacles.
All right, Don, what do you think?
I'm just fascinated with the whole landscape that's been painted for me. That's
why some rocks have moss on them.
Yeah.
Correct. I don't know. Actually, biology is not my arena. But the historical record, I mean, I have no doubt, and this is why I gave you partial credit, because you're exactly right. People have been absolutely sticking things that look like a dick or seem like a dick in their bodies long before we had it in the historical
Since
record.
before the invention of dicks.
But the historical record has it 1900 BC, almost just over 4,000 years ago.
Yeah,
Hippocrates has it as a described medical device.
Huh. Oh, so medical. Okay, I thought it was just like
Always medical.
some
Yeah,
prose.
it's medical.
Yeah.
Like its applications are purely medical
Yeah.
for millennia.
Yeah,
At
okay.
least theoretically.
So then we get to hysteria, and I asked him what was like the long time medical diagnosis for me. It's like,
Well,
yeah.
you were perfectly misogynistic. In fact, the misogyny really is what gave you a better score on that answer.
Some
because it's
say I'm one of the best in the world.
I agree. I really applaud you, and you excelled at it because the beating heart of hysteria. You can't have a definition of hysteria without total misogyny. The point is that women are broken, and basically anything that a woman did that was sort of uncomfortable or unpleasant or perceived as imperfect by men and women, because women would accuse other women of being hysterical all the time. There was like this perceived version, and that included literally everything: shortness of breath, agitation, being a bitch. 100%. Being a bitch is a very easy one, but also just making life difficult for people could get you diagnosed with hysteria, and a doctor would clinically diagnose you. It wasn't just like witchcraft. Like a doctor would say, oh yes, this is a positive case of hysteria, which meant it had to be treated. Hysteria, once diagnosed, couldn't be ignored, and that's why it was scary, because you have to be fixed. We have to cure you.
Yeah. Well, as a comedian, you want to be hysterical.
Absolutely. And like women, like if you talk too much, you interrupt a man, which I just did.
Yeah.
Boom, hysterical. If you interrupt a
Nice.
man, you have
Revenge.
clearly
We will be burning you at the stake later.
Yeah, exactly. It was sort of like it was
wrong
witchcraft.
to have her in
It was.
studio.
It took the place of witchcraft for an age that wanted to believe itself to be more dignified. Like we still are going to have the same biases, but we're not going to be heathens like our ancestors and call them witches. We know it's a medical diagnosis. We're not going to burn her, but they did have other treatments that were pretty.
Yeah. So what were some of the cures then? Jim said
Dildo.
orgasm.
an orgasm is
and
great.
Zoloft.
Like an orgasm was a cure for hysteria, which I think.
But what did they like? Okay, so I have to assume that women were giving themselves orgasms, right? Or
Well, masturbation.
like it couldn't be like you went to the doctor and then he went zzz, and you went woo. That's how orgasms are, like a haunted ghost. And then you went, oh, I never had one of those. And you go home and give them to yourself. Like surely there must have been an incident where a girl just figured it out by herself because she would.
Yeah. Did the doctors have to give them the orgasm? Was that part of the
Yeah,
treatment?
like she'd
Absolutely.
eaten a hot dog, a bit of mustard fall down there, and she'd scrub and
Yeah.
scrub to
No,
get
but
off
the doctor had to give them
without,
time.
without taking her pants off.
Yeah, the doctor had to give. There wouldn't be a self-diagnosed like you go home and masturbate 5 times a day. That's your cure. It would definitely have to come at the hands of a man, so to speak.
Sure.
And a
How
medical
would a woman
professional.
orgasm otherwise?
But it was also like orgasm was sort of a later cure for hysteria. They started with lobotomy and electroshock and imprisonment.
Wait a minute. So your original cure was to cut the bit of the brain out that gives critical thinking.
Correct.
So you're just like this. Oh,
Exactly. A
like
perfect
that.
woman. She still wears a corset and she still can look beautiful, but she just talks less and she's unable to
function.
But, which
you know,
makes her much easier to deal with.
But you have a wife, right? You're in the olden days. You want your wife to be taking care of the kids and cleaning the house, etc. That's just the system that was going on. Why, even if she's hysterical, you don't want her to have a fucking lobotomy.
No, well, that's why it's for well-born women. You could certainly apply this to like poor women, but it was less applied there. This is where a woman is challenging the dynasty of a family. I mean, this was why it wasn't just to stop her from not cleaning the house or bitching. It would be, you're about to bring our whole family down. You're about to question politics. You are about to make me, your husband, look weak in the public sphere. And these kinds of things can't be tolerated.
Right, so you would wheel your wife in Hannibal Lecter style.
Correct.
Right? You'd have her on a dolly with a mask on, and then you just dump her in front of the doctor and go, this one wants to vote.
Exactly. That sounds ridiculous and is ridiculous and is absolutely correct.
Yeah, this one wants to vote.
Or just don't worry. I have her already locked upstairs in the attic, and they would go, oh, thank goodness. And then the doctor would go up to the attic. Yes, she's absolutely hysterical.
And the doctor would go to
They
the
never
attic,
know.
and then he'll be like, fuck, I left me drill downstairs. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah. Well, it's like, do you remember the short story, The Yellow Wallpaper?
I haven't charged this one. I'll be back in a second.
But women masturbating, the history of that, yes, but there's such a ignorance that we have to from when we look at these points in history, we have to try really hard to examine the fact that the ignorance of sexuality, and especially the ignorance of female sexuality, is almost impossible for us to comprehend, because it was so, I mean, women, my mother, this is like not ancient history, when she first started menstruating, didn't know what was happening and thought she was dying. And her mother didn't tell her, just kind of gave her some materials like, figure it out, because it's not something we talk about. So the idea that your actual functional, menstruation, the act of having babies isn't discussed, the idea that you're pleasuring yourself is so hundreds of years in the future.
It goes both. I masturbated from the age of about 10 or something, even younger. And I remember thinking, I'm the only bloke doing this.
Sure, exactly.
I remember thinking
Yeah,
that quite
no,
vividly.
exactly.
I'm the only one doing. And I'm sure now with people, it's worse now because kids watch pornography and stuff like that. But like me, I was just looking at an underwear catalogue going,
I have an idea.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know sex, if sex itself was totally ignorant to you, you probably wouldn't even know that that thing you're doing is related to sex.
It's like
Because sex
scratching an
isn't-
itch.
Exactly. It's like sneezing. It's like it's like a thing you do in private. It's like picking your nose. I mean, it would be like
I masturbated from,
pooping. I don't know,
Yeah.
something you don't talk about.
I masturbated to underwear catalogs. A lot of comics have talked about this, the underwear catalog thing and before porn thing.
Yeah.
But I did have, I had this for a couple of years, and I in one of my mother's women's magazines, and I say women's magazines because it's Women's Weekly. You know, it's still a big sale. There's
Yeah.
Women's Day and Women's Weekly in Australia, the number 2.
Wow.
1 and 2. They always had a picture of Diana calling her a whore. And then when she died, they were like this, these people have blood on their hands.
They killed that whore.
I remember because my mother was in hospital when Diana died, and there was a pile of these magazines that she'd been reading, and she was in there for about 6 weeks. So I got to see each week these magazines come out. And then each week was like, here she is with this harlot on a boat with this Egyptian man and all this other stuff. And then it's like the people's princess.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a magazine there, and I pulled out a picture, and I kept it under my bed, just a little scrap of paper that had a full naked tit in it. And never before, never since, had this magazine had a full naked tit in it. And I was like, this is the holy grail.
Big day.
This is it. And I was about 10 years old, and I had me tit picture.
You still remember it in your brain?
Oh, yeah.
Draw it right now.
Yeah, I remember it because it was a picture of a woman having a mammogram. One of them was hanging out. The other one was pressed into a machine.
Was that the one that you had the picture of?
Yeah, and which I only assumed was a sex machine. That she had a tit pressed into this machine here, and I was like, "This is all right." This is how bad my reading was. I didn't check up on what was going on. I just tore it out and went, "How do they let this one get through?"
So
Amazing.
the doctor treated him with orgasms. So I guess they had to they had to learn how to fake. They're not having orgasms for real in the doctor's
Absolutely,
office.
because this is the
They're
other
like,
thing.
I gotta fake another
this
one
is the other
here.
thing. The women were as ignorant. And by the way, this is all the historical sources, all of the historians who have researched this much more deeply than myself will agree that we're not saying every woman was ignorant of what an orgasm was or had never given herself an orgasm before. But most of the women didn't know what may not have ever had an orgasm and wouldn't have associated an orgasm with what a doctor was doing to you anyway.
Yeah.
But to
Sure.
your point, part of the reason why we have the vibrator is because when the doctors were trying to manually do it, their arms would get tired because it would take a long time.
Yeah.
Because they weren't very
got a
good.
cramp. Yeah.
And they knew, and they really believed because of this like Hippocrates, because the idea of like female fluid and female hysteria and all of this was so genuinely believed by the medical professionals. They really believed that we needed for her to express fluid. That was part of what they were trying to do. They didn't even say orgasm. It was it was an expressing of fluid, and it was a tension and a release that cured her. And they would part of the reason why they got a vibrator is because they didn't want to do it with their hands anymore. Their hands were getting
So the squirters would be like fully cured, and then
Right.
the other girls needed a few more sessions.
And the women themselves would be like, I'm not going to lie. I've never felt better. Like, again, and are there women who knew exactly what was going on and were lining up and telling other friends and I can't wait to get jerked off at the office? Maybe, but probably most of them. The historians agree. The vast majority of the women who were treated with a vibrator and given an orgasm as part of a cure for hysteria were as ignorant of what was going on as everybody else.
So Timaeus, what was his theory about the woman's uterus? Jim said he was a psychiatrist. That's where they held all the bad vibes in.
That's part of what gave him great scores, yeah. And his theory, though, was that a woman who was not pregnant was particularly prone to
it's
hysteria.
filled with baby ghosts.
Exactly. Well, similar. The fluids, the whatever the baby, the uterus would hold, that fluid unoccupied wanders. And if that fluid wanders up to your brain, that's how you get mental illness. And if your uterus fluid is wandering to your heart, that's how you get emotional problems.
Okay, hang on. This guy's clearly never met a pregnant woman. This guy,
right?
Yeah, this guy's like, and the only people who are never hysterical are the pregnant. Because their wombs are full. If you want to meet a woman of sound mind, meet the pregnant.
Oh, very sound, yes. They would say, like, for a woman who was, for example, one of the symptoms of hysteria was being very sexual. A woman who liked sex and wanted sex and was promiscuous was hysterical. So the cure for her was to impregnate her. And they would say, get a man to marry her and impregnate her and keep her pregnant all the time. That was her cure for hysteria. So it would, because those fluids are wandering around crazy.
Well, that would work because they'd be fucking constantly, and she'd be, all right.
That's the theory.
Yeah. And then if she cheated, she'd be like this, I'm just trying to get rid of the hysteria.
Yeah. They had this very interesting way, though, of drawing. In addition to orgasm, Timaeus would use smelling salts. So the fluid, if the idea is that your uterus fluid is all up in your brain and we need to bring it down to the uterus where it belongs, they would put bad smelling stuff under your nose and sweet smelling stuff down by your vagina to sort of draw the blood down, bring it down, bring all that down, and then the woman would
Right, but also,
Did it work?
Also the vagina's next to the
Right.
asshole. The sweetest smelling spot.
Right, yeah.
All the holes smell in the human body.
Word.
True.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause
sometimes they can do better than that.
Word.
We all get bad breath. If you ever tasted earwax, your snots, your nose, that's probably the best smell.
yeah, your nose doesn't smell because you're smelling through your nose.
Yeah.
That's where you get the smells. But yeah.
Yeah, but if you put shit up your nose,
Sure.
everything
You
smells
put
like
shit in any hole. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
It's
that
so
hole.
True. I've wondered about that.
If you put shit in a
Shit-filled
donut hole,
There's only
it's
one
gonna
way
be
to
that.
find
That's
out.
the
Smell
thing.
bad.
I don't like to wash or bathe or anything like that. So what I do is I just put like little bits of cardboard out of those those pine trees that the cab drivers hang on their vision mirrors, and I shoved them up my wife's nose.
Smart.
So that way, cut out the middleman.
Legend.
I was wondering about that. I've seen them with her up her nose before. So, who was credited with the first electrified dildos vibrator? Was it Tesla?
Nikola Tesla.
No.
Forrest thought it was Elon Musk.
It was not. It was.
No,
it was
I was
not.
just making a joke.
It was not. His
I've
name.
known you a long time. I'll tell you when you're making a joke. That wasn't a joke.
I'll tell you.
Don.
I'll let you know when.
That was so threatening for no reason.
No, not a joke.
When I see one, I'll tell you.
It was Joseph Mortimer Granville, and the
yeah.
device was known as the Granville's hammer.
That's a good name.
That was almost a joke, but it wasn't.
And he was one of these guys who was like, your hands are
I'll
getting
tell
tired.
you.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, I'm pointing. I'm waiting for you to tell a joke. I'm going to tell you when you've done one.
June 23rd, Reno, Nevada. I'll be opening for you.
Ah, poor people at Reno.
Don't come out for the first 15 minutes.
Self-deprecating, but I don't know if it qualifies for it.
Hey, we like you for
No,
us.
it wasn't a joke. That was just factual. You know,
Oh.
I'm can't do it anymore. So Mortimer.
I have an application for you guys that can really cheer you up.
What?
It's called a Vibrator.
Ooh. What is that?
I have vibrators. I'm telling you, it's spoiled people.
Was he a doctor?
Get back,
He was.
get
Right.
back to the dick, folks. Let's just get back to earthiness, skin on skin,
Organic.
organic orgasms.
Why can't everybody come to the party?
I just reckon.
Didn't you? I thought you just used a pocket pussy before, right?
I've used them before, but I don't like them.
Wasn't
The
it
remote-
shipped to you for some reason?
I had one. Okay, I'll tell you the story. So I had this one that was like the ultimate sucking machine. It went blah 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 blah, and it looked like Trump slips. I remember, and I got given it from Nikki Glaser.
Well, why don't you explain that?
No, I am.
Okay.
Me and Nikki Glaser in an alleyway. No, so Nikki Glaser, I was on her show on Comedy Central. She had a sex show
Called Full Frontal.
Full Frontal. No, Full Frontal.
No, it wasn't. It was
Samantha
not
Bee.
safe for work.
Not sa-
Safe for work.
No,
NSF,
Not safe.
Not safe.
Not
yeah,
safe.
not
What was
safe.
Full Frontal?
It was
Full Frontal.
Sam
Samantha
Bee.
Bee was a
Samantha Bee.
political show.
Yeah.
They're all sound the same
That
to
was
me.
one of our competitions to win
They all
the
sound the
show.
same.
It was a
Whatever.
political show. Yeah, this is not safe. Not
That was a
safe
show
for-
about
yeah.
how we're getting fucked by politics,
That's
but not.
So I remember because I held it up, and I remember Trump was campaigning at that stage. It was actually, I did a really good turn on that show, and that's when we got the Jim Jefferies shows, because they
A lot of the same
afterwards-
people worked from that show on.
Yeah,
yours,
because they were like, "Hey, you did great. You ever thought of blah blah blah?" And then I had a meeting and blah blah blah. So anyway, I was on the Nikki Glaser show, and they gave me this. This was like the Bentley of things you fuck
for guys.
for guys. Anyway, so it has this, and so it came with this big thing, and this tube goes. And so my job was, before I went back on the show, was to try it out. Right? They didn't give it to me on the show. It was mailed to me.
Yeah.
And I remember
I remember this because I think I was at your house when you got it.
It was like an
Yeah.
assignment?
You were using
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
That's
was.
what it was.
It was before I met my wife. This is
Yeah. It was-
Because I
it was
remember
your old
because my
house.
wife found it because it's up in. It was in a box.
Yeah. Is it your old
And she
house?
was,
Because it was
and
in the
and she
office.
was like, "What?" And I'm like, "I got given it on a TV show."
How'd you do it?
Yeah. So anyway, so I had this thing. I go back. I fuck it. Right? I've fucked sex toys before. Everyone has. Right? I go back. I have to fuck it. I've got a timeline. They deliver it to my house, and I remember I'm on the show in 24 hours. So I got to fuck this thing within 24 hours.
It's like the plot of a Bruce
Yeah,
Willis
yeah.
movie.
to get this on the show with Nikki the next time I'm there, right? So I go on and I fuck it. I come inside. It's all right. Then I got to give my review, and I brought it back and I said, "Here it is, everybody." And then they if you pull the machine, because the machine had bits that rolled around the outside of it, right?
Nice.
The inner sock.
Yeah.
The inner sock had. Now I'll tell you something you might not know about me, Dawn. I might not. This is to quote my father. I may not be a great lover, but I produce a hell of a lot of cum.
Great to know.
Volume. If volume was a thing that women enjoyed,
And thick, he says. Yeah.
well, but
Prove it.
No, I'm telling you take us
This
all
would be
off,
the episode to do it.
you put us all off in a room to masturbate and come back. You'll know which one's mine.
Well, that's overflowing.
There's really only one way to find out.
I'm not kidding. It's like do you remember like Peter North, right? Who they called the plasterer, right?
Yeah.
And then he was the porn star who just
I didn't know that was
Amazing.
the
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
the plaster.
But there's always a thing like makes it made it look like a plasterer's radio. Like you know how they have those little radios with the plastering.
And
It's
there's
always
just stuff like
coming away.
a painter or plaster. Yeah,
plasterer's radio. Anyway, so I always watched him and everyone's like, "Did you see that guy does stuff?" And I'm like, "That's nothing."
Watch this.
I am, and distance as well.
Oh.
If I
He's an athlete.
my headboard's covered in cum, and this is from me laying on my back, not from me getting up on all fours. This is over me head.
Wow.
Several times I've shot myself in the mouth.
I was wondering if you had to wear glasses or something.
No, it's just a thing.
So you get to the TV show.
Anyway, Nikki was very impressed by that at the end.
Well,
No, what happened?
You didn't clean it out?
Yeah, shut up. I'm telling that bit. Right. So I bring back the machine. I've come in it just that day.
Fresh cum.
No, Nikki doesn't know this, so don't tell her. Anyway,
It's
so
not a
She'll
podcast.
never know. She'll never know.
she doesn't listen to this podcast. Okay. Anyway, so I said, there you go. There. I said, I thought I was just going to hold it up. I'm on the show like this. I used the blah, blah, blah 2000. I wanked at it. I came in. I timed myself. I told you how quickly I came. I was going over all the features. I was doing a product review on TV.
You're Vanna White.
Yeah. And then Nikki holds it like this, and then she pulls it out, and I think to myself, oh no, it doesn't pour out of it, but she pulls out the tube like that, and then she shakes it around, and I can hear a glugging noise. But that was the show we were on. That was the show. That's what they requested for me to do.
Is there a correlation to your sperm count, or is this just wasted mass?
I tell you, I can get people pregnant by winking at them.
Great.
I'm
knew that's how it worked.
Yeah,
Great.
it's
Yeah.
I've got it. I've had the snip though.
Okay, good.
No more.
Have you
And
noticed a difference in quantity
well,
since?
that's what I
Tell me.
wondered.
Was it gonna-
If I thought to myself, would my velocity and or mass decrease? And the answer is no. Although I do feel like, and this might just be getting old and correlate, I do feel like the balls don't fill up as quick as they used to. But if I've gone 24 hours without coming, I'll still have the patented Jefferies.
I had a friend whose husband got a vasectomy, and after the vasectomy, his semen started like burning her skin a little. She had like a weird reaction to his semen after that.
I've had that thing where you do that, and so someone gets it, and they get on their skin,
And
it
it itches, yeah.
burns a little bit, and then it doesn't other times and stuff like that. But that
Yeah.
can happen, yeah. But
It's nature saying,
they're
this
meant
is
to-
shooting blanks.
Then-
Don't let him fuck you.
they-
It won't get you pregnant.
they're meant to say, like, if I put it in someone's eyeball now, it's not meant to hurt, is the theory. But I don't know if that's an urban myth.
I'll let you know.
So
Because, because the other ones are swimming and thinking it's an egg, and my one's just
They're
like
hanging
this.
it.
on our porn episode, Lexi Luna said that was true. She said she
yeah.
did a test at least, but
that they take.
she tested it on her eyes. Somebody that was
That's good. This is
that's
important.
I burn the skin, not the eyes.
Okay, so what year did he invent the vibrator, or rounds, or?
1883.
Okay, so in the 1880s.
Maybe the thing was just filled with a bit of water. Maybe I did clean it. I don't want to get in trouble. None of the cum poured out. I promise.
Yeah, it was water.
Yeah.
In the 1880s, the vibrator was one of the first 5 devices ever electrified. What are the other 4? Jim said light bulb, toaster, stove, blender.
Oh, he nailed that one. That was really good.
yeah?
Light bulb, toaster, tea kettle, vibrator, and what is
Fan,
it?
I think.
Oh, a fan.
You wrote the answers.
That's right.
I
I'm
don't
like,
know
what
the
was the
answer.
5th one?
Yeah.
And
That was,
no.
okay.
You said the stove. I count that as the kettle.
Okay.
Heater one.
It's a cold.
Yeah.
And a blender's almost a fan, so.
But yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
got it.
right. I
You
didn't
can't
give you
crush it.
7, 6.
Yeah.
That was,
I remember when I was in South Africa, and they made me do it. They made me. I did a tour of the townships in like where they have the huts and all the people live on top of each other.
Yeah.
Because it turns out South Africa is quite an impoverished place.
I've heard that.
And we were doing a field piece for the TV show, and they said, go into all the huts and talk to the people. And there was this one bloke who was just like, I went into his hut, and I'm like, hello, mate, how are you? And he goes, I would like to show you the features of my home.
Oh.
That's right. And one of the ones was he'd put a light bulb in a blender, right? And he goes, and when you turn it on, the light comes on instead of the blender spinning around.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how it didn't make the show, but this guy was like the Edison of
Engineer.
this township.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Wow.
and he was like this. You won't see this in anyone else's house.
Yeah, I did.
Like in the world, maybe.
Yeah, and because the container of the thing, so it gave a lovely warm light.
Yeah, I
Nice
think it would
lantern.
glow nice.
yeah,
with the
yeah,
glass,
lovely, yeah.
You
Blend-
can't make margaritas.
blend a bulb.
In what year was the vibrator first publicly marketed, and what were its alleged applications? Jim said he just did a commercial.
He did a commercial. It was
Yeah.
delightful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also contributed to his above average score.
Yeah.
It was not advertised ever as a sexual device. When it was publicly marketed, it was a
Oh, I know. Massage.
bingo.
It was
personal
it was a
massager.
personal massager.
And one other use. It was actually 50-50. Massager and... I'll give you a
wizard wand. Something a face like de-wrinkler.
Yeah,
Okay.
beauty aid.
Okay. So
And so it would be subtle advertising where they would have like a woman in her lingerie holding one
Yeah.
and telling everyone how much youthful beauty and glow this gives you, and she's holding it in various
Yeah.
places.
Right,
Yeah.
so there's a routine that maybe be off my first special about me, or maybe a second special, something like that. That was about me and my brother finding a vibrator in the garage, and my father saw us finding it because we were going through boxes in the garage, and my dad goes, we go, what's this, Dad? He goes, oh, a massages people. Put that away. No, enough of that. Don't you be playing with that. Right? Anyway, so later on, me and my brother went out to the garage, and he did the whole, you massage my back, I'll massage yours. And it's like brothers. You push them on the swings, and then it's your turn. They fucking run off, right? And so I massaged me brother on the back with the vibrator in the garage. And I was about 6, he was about 10 or something like that. Then it was my turn, and then he did it. He ran off, and so I sat in the garage in the dark, just massaging my own back with the vibrator. And then my dad comes home and he rolls open the roller door and he just sees me just looking upset like that. And he said, did Scotty fuck you over again? And so anyway, so ever since I've told that story, and how did I not remember this? Several times over the years, people have sent me posters of personal massages.
Oh yeah, from back in the day.
Yeah, like the
This is
Sky Mall always.
Yeah.
That was always where I remember seeing
Yeah,
them.
Sky, yeah. And in the 1920s, why was a vibrator prohibited from being publicly marketed? Jim said Al Capone.
Yeah,
You know,
prohibition.
which is that was also a good contributor to your score because
10.
he was ignorant. But it's fine if you're ignorant. You still got a good score on your test. You can still accidentally write the correct answer because prohibition factors into it. Because in 1920 we had a wider distribution of pornography, video pornography, than we had before, photo and video, and they were certainly not pretending that this was a massager or a beauty aid. They were fucking each other with it and fucking themselves with it, and so there were really illicit images of people using vibrators and dildos for exactly their sexual application. And then people would see them in these magazines with, it's just a personal massager. At the exact same decade that we have banned alcohol and have ads in newspapers that are like, this Meriwether's tonic for your, prescribed by your doctor. And people started to see that the advertisements were misleading. We were misleading in advertising, selling illegal booze, and they correlated it to these. Hang on a second. These aren't actual massagers at all. People are putting these in their pussies. So, 1920.
Prohibition.
And then in 1960,
Capone.
they became cordless, right?
Correct. What an advancement! Because there are some vibrator museums. There's a particularly good one in northern Minnesota because these poor frontier women who had cracked the code were not about to head out in the middle of nowhere, never having an orgasm again. And you pointed out once you've had an orgasm with a vibrator, it's very difficult to say that you're never ever going to do that again. So their early vibrators would be like in a briefcase. And you'd open it up. It looked almost like a defibrillator.
You've lost a latch.
Oh God, bless it.
It's getting hot and bothered.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well, you said you were going to come, and I figured I could encourage things.
got very salacious in here.
It's just overalls. I wish it was more salacious than that. And so these like early vibrators, not only did they plug into the wall, they drew a lot of electricity, and they would
Dangerous.
have some of them even have like if you go to these museums have like a chamber with like mercury in it, and they don't know why. They're like, "How does this help people come?" They're like, "It's just beautiful. It's just kind of like it was fun to watch. It was lovely." But yeah, being able to have
I'd attach a solar panel to the end.
but having it wireless was obviously
You had to get an extension cord.
Or a battery that never dies.
the meter doesn't dip when you go
what
to
you
the
do
bathroom.
is you put a cord and a bloke with a bike on the end.
Or find your fellow with the blender. I bet he could figure something out.
You will not see this in any other house.
The obscene device law, when was it introduced? Jim said, what did you say? The 20s? Yeah, that's what he said.
1973, it was passed as an official law.
Okay, and then
State.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think you said Utah, right?
Yeah, he said Utah twice. Yeah.
Texas.
So Texas. So it
would
was
have been
only
the
in
other
Texas,
one.
or it wasn't a national?
It was initially instigated in Texas in 1973. It spread to many, many other states, never all 50 states, but it's come and gone, so to speak, from various other places.
When was the most recent arrest of a person in violation of the obscene device law?
I'm so glad you got this one way wrong, and I was really glad because it shouldn't be this. It was 2007. A woman was arrested in Texas, arraigned for because the laws had moved. It was no longer you couldn't have any obscene devices. It was that you had to have a limit of 6 in Texas at the time. You couldn't have more than 6. Yeah. And she was throwing one of those
Have
passion
as many
parties.
guns as you want, but dildos.
Exactly.
6.
And also, by the way, if you have cattle, you have big old dildos in your barn to stimulate the bull. I mean, like,
wait, they counted those?
No, but I mean that's the thing. Like, you can only have 6 for people, but you can have a barn full for your cattle. But she was throwing a passion party, one of those like Tupperware parties for dildos, and they it was like a sting, and they arrested her, and she fucking was
saw your
around
Craigslist ad,
too many dildos.
And in what state does a person still today need a doctor's note to buy a vibrator? Jim said Utah again.
That'd be Alabama.
Alabama.
Of course.
You didn't say the South.
I had about 5 states
Yeah.
to pick from.
That was again spirit
and
of the
I
answer
only
was
thought
correct.
because of the Mormons. That's the only
Wait, so if you go to like a sex store, you have to bring a doctor's note?
I don't think sex stores are probably legal. Think about
I
it
don't know
like
about
when
Alabama.
cannabis, when cannabis was sort of illegal and then boundary legal, like these phases. So if
you go in there to the sex shop like this, go to the doctor out the back. Oh, I've been getting headaches. All right, go to the
It's
front.
a sex dispenser.
Yeah, so they probably have, and there's probably like in California, you can't get those certain light bulbs, like they just won't ship them to you. So if you try to order one overtly
light bulbs?
online,
the ones that if you put them in a landfill, they have I think they have mercury in them.
Yeah. So if you order one on
Is that
Amazon,
the one with the filament,
Yeah.
not the LED bulbs.
Filaments are fine. Yeah.
That they're making in China to start the Chinese army.
Is that what he used to say?
Yeah, these Obama bulbs.
oh right, that's right, the Obama bulb.
Okay, and why are so many vibrators designed to look like cute little animals?
To get around all of those obscene device laws. So you had said earlier, I can't
Women
remember
love
which
animals.
question, that women
Yeah.
love animals, right? Which is also true. But you had mentioned something about somewhere in the Middle East that was where something happened. And that was also get you a spirit of the note, because there are obscene device laws internationally that impact what happens in the United States, because they are technically not allowed to manufacture obscene devices because of their own country's laws. They're shipping them to places that maybe we can't receive those because of obscene device laws. And so if they look like pink, purple, cute little animals, they can be legally shipped as just toys. And they can leave the sex part out, because anyone who looks at it can defend the idea that this is just an adorable, harmless toy.
And I think Jim described them all correctly, except P-spot. He didn't know what that one was, the vibrator.
That'd be the prostate. So that is
it's
a
not
vibrator
a
that
reach around.
specifically is
for men.
designed to stimulate the prostate.
Women don't have a prostate.
Yeah. Another episode.
point.
You
Actually,
really,
right there.
but there's no
Yeah.
problem with taking a thorough investigation.
I have a very nice sized prostate. It's not too big, not too small. It's good.
Maybe this is related to the quantity of your sperm.
Well, it's got related to the amount of my hemorrhoids that my asshole gets checked on the regular.
I see.
So you know how people they stick the finger up? I get that done like once a month, and the guy's like, "Oh, your prostate's good." Like people are, you should get your prostate examined. Don't worry about it.
We're
perfectly
going to
great.
have his
I've-
doctor on as
I
an
was
expert.
told-
I've been
I-
emailing him.
I was told that
I've got my prostate covered. with hemorrhoids.
My very first pap smear, I was told by my gynecologist.
In Australia, it's called the cunt scrape.
That's much easier to say.
better.
I feel like schmear is always hard to say. I was told that my
That's an
my
old
clitoris
joke.
was weird. That I had, or my cervix was my cervix was strange.
What?
And I had such a complex. I was 16, and I was like, why?
I've
are
heard
you
other
so
women say that before. Maybe it was
cervix?
comedians.
I have
Another
a weird
comedian.
cervix.
Yeah, they're like
why
weird.
are you telling me this?
What? Yeah. Wait, do you do this on stage?
No, I should.
I've
She
heard-
said my nose. She said she goes, it's nothing to be worried about. It's like having a weird nose, and I was like, what? You're using words like weird,
Yeah.
and deformed and odd, and I'm 16 and I'm spread eagle, and it was awful.
The best-selling vibrator of all time. What is it?
A rabbit.
The Hitachi magic wand, actually.
But what happened to the rabbit? The rabbit was like a phenomenon.
The rabbit was a phenomenon, and I think it's simply duration. The Hitachi magic wand came on the market in the 60s and had several more decades to sell
OG.
before the rabbit.
The
Yeah.
OG. That's probably what you're
The rabbit
massaging
probably.
yourself with. You're
I have
probably-
no doubt the rabbit has sold probably more per year since then.
And
sells
the
more than
magic
Hitachi,
wand, genuinely, a lot of people do have it as a personal massager.
Yeah.
It's like sitting in your
That's
grandpa,
what I'm
in
saying.
your
It's
grandpa's
probably the one you
basket
use.
next to the
That's right.
chair.
If you went
No,
back.
I
and-
just use the bullet type of looking one.
Okay.
The pocket rocket was a similar time and kind of a competitor.
They got good
Your
names.
Kool-Aid to flavor
Magic
it.
wand, pocket rocket. During the early days of the COVID lockdown, sales of vibrators went up by how much? Jim said 500%.
You know what's dumb? The vibrator that you can use with your phone. So like your boyfriend can be at the restaurant and make you do it and all that stuff. And it's just like it's such a gimmicky crap. It's rubbish.
Also, like, what a waste of a restaurant. Like, we're out to eat.
Yeah, but it's also
don't
it's
wanna
like
be-
it's meant to be for when you're away from each other or something like that. But it's also it's like the woman knows when she needs more pressure or she wants it to go faster. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I've tried it, and it's too loud to be anywhere where it's public. You like would not want to do
listening,
that.
I'm
Very quiet
and,
restaurant.
And also, you're right, where it's like a vibrator on just being put on somebody without any type of direction is not.
This is a
Yeah,
scallop.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is a scallop with the pistachio demi-glaze.
And also we know that I'd be going up and down, up and down.
So he's played a game on his phone. She's writhing around.
Oh, my word.
So how much did they go up in sales during the beginning of COVID? Was it 500%?
It was 300%.
a lot.
Damn.
But yeah,
pretty
you're
good.
right. Spirit of
It
the
went up.
answer was
It went up.
correct.
Spirit of the answer.
And the specifically the week that the stimulus checks went out,
Oh yeah.
that was
How
when
much
their
does how much
sales
does the
went over
top
the moon.
one cost you these days?
It depends on what you want it to do.
The equivalent of the rabbit, the one with the pearls in it. that
You
circles
can
around.
get you a high quality special dildo for $80 on your sort of mid range if you want it to have like a seal,
People have
not
to wait for a
exposed to the
stimulus
batteries.
check. Fucking hell, a lot of people don't have money, man. I remember being poor as well, but it's like, can you put the price on an orgasm on the regular? Guess it's $80.
$80.
Now it's part of our show called Dinner Party Facts. We ask our guests to give us some fact, obscure, interesting that our audience can use to impress people about this subject. What do you got for us?
Okay, I don't know necessarily why you're talking about hysterectomies at your dinner party, but a hysterectomy.
I recently had one.
Yeah, exactly, we talked
And I
about your
always talk-
prostate and
I
your
talk
shut up about
I
it.
talk
Hysterectomy.
about my medical complaints.
Exactly. You will be talking about it with Jim at a dinner party. That a hysterectomy is when you have your uterus removed, of course. And the reason it is called a hysterectomy goes back to this 1900 BC reference to a woman's hysteria, that if you remove the uterus, you remove the hysteria. Thus, thus the hysterectomy.
Oh, I thought it was because he's not erect to me.
Ah.
Good too. Good too.
All right. Well, this is your second time on here. Everybody that's listened, you can see how great Dawn is. So listen to her podcast. It's called Hilf History I'd Like to Fuck. Download that and start listening to that. And then follow her on Instagram at Dawn_Brody and at Hilf Podcast. Thanks again
It's
for
gonna be
being
a
here.
regular.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us, Dawn.
Oh,
No,
thanks
yeah,
for
she
having
was
me.
here. Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know.
Thanks for being here. If you're ever at a party and someone comes up to you and goes, women can have orgasms without the help of a doctor, go, well, I don't know about that. And walk away. Good night, Australia.